AfriAussie Podcast is a platform where we celebrate the successes, the struggle, and the journey of African entrepreneurs and professionals who make their legacy in Australia. And today we are fortunate to have with us one of the most successful professionals we have here in Australia, Dr. Sawyer. In Nigerian parlance, when you want to acknowledge someone of his caliber, you probably put your two hands in the air and you say twali. So that is to say you are acknowledging his impact, what he has achieved. It's with great pleasure that we are having you today. For those who have not met you, do you mind introducing yourself?
My name is Dr. Sawyer, and I'm an engineer practicing in Australia at the moment. And I started my career back in South Africa before moving to Australia, where I was actually practicing as a professional engineer too.
Thank you for that. Can you take us back, please? What was your background before you moved into Australia, like professionally?
All right, my career started in the year, I would say working, I started in 2012. However, my educational career started way back before then, where I started my national diploma in civil engineering in South Africa in the year 2003. And when I completed my national diploma, I had an opportunity to actually go and work. But with the limited information my parents had, I went to a university that offers more of technical knowledge rather than the conventional university.
Yeah.
So they then encouraged me to say, no, we would like you to actually go to a university to study there. That meant I should then start afresh and go back to university, which I started in the year 2007. And I completed my degree, BSc degree in civil engineering in the year 2010. From there, I then proceeded to do my master's in civil engineering, which I completed within a year. However, due to examination, it resulted me in actually graduating in the year 2013. And then within that 2013, I started my PhD in civil engineering. I initially started full-time, but along the way, instead of being on campus, I then resulted in being registered full-time, but at the same time working. So that meant me juggling between employment and education. That dragged my PhD for a very long time because my PhD was more on renewable energy, which meant that I needed to do some experiments and conduct some tests. I finished my PhD in the year 2019. And unfortunately, due to COVID, I was not able to graduate in 2020. So while I said earlier that I started my employment in 2012, I worked for a small consulting company. And when you work for a small company like that, you are expected to do almost everything that is related to civil engineering. So I will do design, I will do project management, I will go to sites and all those things. And after, I think 1.5 years, if I'm not mistaken, I then moved to the academia where I lectured. And within a year, I then thought that if I needed to impact knowledge in the educational field, it would be good for me to gain more experience in the industry. So I worked for a very big consulting company where I was a water engineer, and at the same time I was lecturing. So I worked for that company for some time before I moved into government, where I was operation and maintenance manager, basically managing and planning maintenance of municipal infrastructure.
Yeah.
Then I went back to consulting again before I then moved to, in 2020, I then had an opportunity to be a resident director in Nigeria. However, due to COVID, projects were suspended,
Yeah.
and most of the clients we had were private individuals or private entities. So they were skeptical of investing in terms of infrastructure because no one knew what's going to happen with this COVID.
Yeah.
So that resulted in me coming back to South Africa. And then I joined the local government again before I joined the national government as a chief engineer. And while I was practicing as a chief engineer, I always wanted to move internationally to gain an international experience. And then I started the process of applying. I don't even remember when I applied for an opportunity, which I have now. So I was called for the interview. I went through the interview, and then in the year 2023, I then decided to explore the international grounds. So that has been my journey.
Yeah, it's a very inspiring journey. To be honest, I really don't think we've got a lot of Africans who have probably will fit into your like journey pathway. It's unique to yourself. And the next question probably would be why the choice of Australia? Like you could have gone to the US, you could have explored opportunity in Dubai. Yeah, why Australia?
Okay, the good thing about Australia and other few countries, South Africa is one of the what they call Washington Accord. So basically, it meant that your qualification in South Africa get recognized in certain countries, and Australia is one of those countries. Yes, I could have gone to the UK because also the UK is also one of the options. My desire initially was to go to the UK. However, as my wish was to actually gain an international experience, I then decided to say, no, I'm not going to limit myself to the UK only, but I'm going to spread my wings and try those countries that are part of the Washington Accord. The US was not like something I was pursuing, like in aggression, because
Yeah.
of the challenges I might come across in terms of I have to evaluate my qualification. Though I was registered in South Africa, I might have to go through another process to be registered in the US again, which might mean that it might delay me in terms of rising as expected. So the Australia became an available opportunity when I was approached by the company that I'm working for currently to come on board, and I then grabbed it with both hands. So that is the reason.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I would say, yeah, for someone who has make valuable impacts in the engineering firm, what would you really say was the initial barrier to getting entry into the industry and to be specific, the consulting sector?
One of the challenges that most people face in terms of entering the consulting, or let me just speak about industry in general.
Yeah.
Most of these companies, remember, they are there not for charity, they are there to make profit.
100%.
It's very important that they want to bring someone who is competent or has a potential of being competent. So they must see a drive within you to basically develop yourself and be able to show your skills. So I will say that the greatest challenge that people find to entering the industry, whether construction or consulting, is the limitation of experience. And the person might have a good grade in terms of their transcripts of their qualification, but they have no skill in terms of whether the use of software, whether even developing themselves on a private capacity to do small projects to show that, yes, I've not been employed, but I've been utilizing my skill to be able to develop myself. So that has always been a barrier, which I've noticed generally. And the longer you stay unemployed, the difficulty becomes to actually enter the industry. Because if, for example, you graduated in 2020 and you have not been employed for 6 years, how will a company employ you And you, for sure, at that stage, you have a lot of responsibilities. And even if they employ you, they might want to employ you from a junior a position, and you might say, no, the salary is too small. So you are always battling to say, okay, should I take the employment and suffer, or should I suffer without employment? So I think I would say that it's important for graduates to always develop themselves in a sense of whether you are employed or not, train yourself, do projects, do even projects that might have been completed by gaining experience, or even maybe freelancing, or probably shadowing your companies around your community to say that I'm willing to offer my service for free for 2 weeks or for a month or whatsoever. That will be able to even cultivate the habit of being a professional person, because when you are out of the industry or you have never been in the industry, you do not know how to behave as a professional. So that, I would say, is one of the challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we both are aware, like in the construction, consulting, engineering, and designing sector, really we put much emphasis on technical capability. So I would ask, apart from the technical capability, what other skills would say maybe emerging engineer needs to work on and build on?
Yeah. One of the things which I've noticed, I think we tend to limit ourselves as engineers to technical capabilities. But the greatest challenge has not always been technical, because technical is something that you can learn. But when it comes to soft skills, which people struggle with, and most of the time when you are dealing with clients, you don't deal most times on the technical level. You deal with those soft skills in terms of communication. How do you communicate? How to give them feedback? How to write? How to use even basic things like how to use Word, how to make sure you present your work in a professional manner. So I would say people need to explore beyond the technical aspect by developing themselves in terms of soft skills, and also the use of, with the industry that we are in, the use of other softwares that supports the technical aspect of your work.
Yeah, so with the rapid rates of we going with artificial intelligence, what is your take on the future of engineering globally? Yeah.
Very interestingly, I was looking at AI in a sense that AI is going to be here, and it's going to be here for a very long time. It's basically here to stay. AI doesn't think. AI produce what you have actually put in. It's just like a software.
Yeah.
If you put 1 + 1 into a software, into a calculator, and the calculator gives you 2, you can't blame the calculator for giving you, calculator give you, you put 1 + 1 and it gives you 2. Then you're expecting a 3. Then you say, but the calculator is wrong. But who inputs the information?
Yeah.
Is it the calculator itself or you? So you need to have an understanding of what you are putting in and what is the software producing. If the software is producing something and you've got no understanding of that thing, then it means that you will accept anything. So AI will help in terms of productivity, in terms of production, in terms of the turnaround time of what we do as engineers. However, it's our responsibilities as professionals to make sure we put in correct information and we review the information that has been produced. I've read articles, I've read or seen on the news where companies were being sued because of the use of AI. The use of AI is not the problem. The use or the lack of review of the output of AI becomes the problem. So if AI gives you something and you don't spend time, which has been saved by AI, to produce something for you faster, to review then you can't blame the AI. You can actually blame yourself. So I will encourage, whether you are a practicing engineer or a upcoming engineer, to embrace the software, but also develop your fundamental understanding of the industry that you are in.
100%. The fundamentals are always key. Just like someone who is building a career, you want to look at the T. The T is just the shape of the T, your depth and the industry experience. So with AI, yeah, I completely agree with you. AI would not take our job away. It's only there to amplify what we've already known and bring about efficiency. All right. One of the things I've actually come across, and with some of the stories I've heard in terms of someone like yourself and myself who have the privilege of calling us Australia home, is the fact that success before we arrive here and success when we arrive here, there seems to be a disparity in terms of what success look like. So my question to you is, now that you are building legacy, making positive impact in the engineering firm and industry and sector, to be specific, the consulting sector. So my question to you is, what does success look like for you now?
Success is the transfer of a legacy, because I know people have got different definition of success, but from my point of view, I consider myself a successful person if I look back and see people that I have developed over the years succeeding. So hence, it motivated me to start something that has to do with bridging the gap between university and the industry. Basically, using my experience, the challenges that I came across, of bridging that gap, because at the university, you have a structure. At the industry, you've got no structure.
Yeah.
A company might have a structure in terms of how you do things, but that structure is not for you, it's for the company. So while at the university, they have a structure in terms of, by this time to this time, you need to be in class from this time to this time. So they somehow try to guide you in terms of what to do. So my happiness or my success will be looking back and seeing people who have succeeded, who are now professional engineers, doing well in the industry, also impacting the society, especially we from Africa, which has a lot to give out or to give back. We are expected to make sure that though we are on the international platform, we do not forget where we come from in terms of developing the transfer of skill. If possible, even help them to be able to move, to gain the experience. And eventually, most of them, if not all of us, will one day go back and say, no, we need to all go back home, because Africa will have been developed at that stage. So it's very important that we look at success from that point of view, rather than just pursue of monetary success.
100% agree. Yeah, so usually when we're about to end the podcast, we have finishing line. So really it's about completing a sentence. The sentence is, the footprint I hope to leave is. So what will be how you complete that? Yeah, obviously, you've alluded to what success look like for yourself, but I would like you to finish the sentence. So the footprint I would like to leave is.
Yeah, there's no word that comes to mind immediately, but the footprint I would like to leave would be impact. Impact, in a sense of impacting our community, impacting the industry as a whole, both international and also locally.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Sawyer, for this fantastic opportunity to share in your journey. I believe this is just a snippet of the journey. It will probably take us days or weeks if you want to really get deep dive. But really, this has been very enlightening, informative, and I believe anyone that will come across this podcast will actually have some lesson here and there to pick from. And yes, so I hope we continue to build legacy and leave positive impact in Australia. Thank you again, and yeah, all the best.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.